Well, once again, it's time, my friends, for another meet and greet. We're Southern Fried and nationwide, so hang on to your seat. Look around, here's what I found. I guess you'll never know what you'll see on the Southern Fried Podcast Show. Yeehaw!
Yeehaw!
Yeehaw. There we are.
Well, once again, it's time
We're gonna
Yeah.
play
for another
it
meet and greet.
Again.
We're Southern Fried
again because it's better the second time around.
Well, we could have verse 2, you know. We've got the one.
Yeah. Okay. Let me do some adjusting on our background here just a little bit. How about that? Let's go to our country road.
Country roads.
Roads.
Thinking John Denver.
Yes. So, everybody, tonight we're having a very special episode of the Southern Fried Podcast. This is Southern Fried Podcast news and updates and stuff like that. And we want to inform y'all of a terrible, terrible thing that's going on right now in North Georgia, especially with these callers that are scamming and calling people old, stuff like that. But I'm not going to go into this anymore. I'm going to turn it over to David, and we're going to let Dave tell this story. And it really is. It's a matter of some, we want y'all to know. Okay? Don't fall for this stuff. But without further ado, Dave, please tell us this story.
Well, before I get the story, first of all, it's elderly. That's what I was called. Elderly.
Elderly.
So, and just to say here, we have been wanting to kick off and we're not long before we go live. We're hoping to have some early morning Southern Fried Podcast news desk, just breaking, coming in, talking about news from the serious to the silly. That's one of our taglines. And this is from the serious to the silly. So, in all seriousness, because we're going to be doing some laughing through this, there is those folks that are scammed every day. And unfortunately, they do prey on the elderly and the ill-informed and those who are just caught up into being afraid, threats, whatever. And they turn over money to these, man, I'm trying to think of what words to use that would be proper. I can't use the ones that, honestly, that I was pretty upset.
Low down scum buckets.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. And I hope they hear this. You know what? You better get a new game. That's all I got to say. If you're going to bring your game to me, you better bring your A game. And you didn't bring your A game. Well, we're going to play you something in just a second. This is actual voicemail that I was left. But before I do that, I was at work, and I'm trying to do work. And I don't answer the phone unless it's, like my boss or someone in the facility that needs to talk to me or my family at home, which they don't bother me much. Granddaughter sometimes wants to talk to me a lot, but they know to not call unless it's really important. So, because we're working. And so the phone had rang, and it was from the metropolis of Adairsville. I don't normally get calls from Adairsville. However, we have facilities in Adairsville. So there was the thought. I was busy at the time. I couldn't take the call. And I get a lot of spammer calls, spam calls. This is probably somebody trying to sell you something or whatever, and they don't ever leave a voicemail or nothing like that. I actually received 2 calls back to back, and I was just going to honestly ignore it unless they left me a message, because most people, my number is not hidden and it's well known. I've given it out to thousands of people. It's not hard to find anybody's number online and get their information. So telemarketers, we're all used to that. You can get on the do not call list. You're still going to get some. They buy these lists of numbers. And they get information and they share that information, sell information. Sometimes the very companies we're doing business with sell that information in marketing purposes. So it's not hard to find that. But in this case, they left me a voicemail. and it was quite interesting. So, Robert, I give you permission to play my personal voicemail.
Okay, because I haven't heard this either, but let's here we go.
This is the Tues County Sheriff's Office looking to make contact with a David Cordell. We have some legal documents for me to discuss with you, Mr. Cordell. Could you please give us a call at your earliest convenience? Thanks. Have a blessed day.
Let's play that one more time. Guys talking kind of quiet there. You can see that he's
looking to make
yeah.
contact with a David Cordell. We have some legal documents for me to discuss with you, Mr. Cordell. Could you please give us a call at your earliest convenience? Thanks. Have a blessed day.
Okay, a couple things about that before we go in the next part of the story. So this is what I hear. Obviously, there's a couple things that stand out. It was choppy at the beginning. That's just the way it came in. I didn't cut anything out of this voicemail. It said the Catoosa County Sheriff's Department. I live in the county of Catoosa. I work in Walker. I go to church in Walker, but the two counties, I'm right here on the line, but I live in Catoosa. So, okay, gets my attention a little bit. And the fact that there's some documents. Okay, a couple things before I noticed Adairsville. So it doesn't make sense for a person who's representing the Catoosa County Sheriff's Office to be calling me from an Adairsville number. So I put that in the back of my brain. But because they did use that, and because I have been, through a couple of cases, because I do have a granddaughter that I'm raising and whatever, let's call. I've got nothing to hide. I'm transparent. So second thing that sort of gave me a little pause was and I hope they're listening. I hope you're listening. You're dumb. You're a dummy. Adairsville. Really? Come on. And I'll give you his reasoning for that in just a minute.
But you called it a metropolis. You did call it a metropolis.
I did. Well, it's growing. It's just growing. All those manufacturers down there at Adairsville's a growing area, but I like Adairsville. I'm not mocking Adairsville. I like Adairsville.
Not mocking it.
It's a wonderful area. And honestly, versus Rossville, it is a metropolis. So, nothing against Rossville either, but we got a lot more jobs coming in down there than we do here. Okay.
Yeah.
The second thing was when I tried to call him back, it rang a few times, and then it said that this phone user or whatever it said does not have a voicemail. Now, come on. So who would be in official capacity does not have ability for you to leave a message? That's the second thing. So now I'm thinking, okay, we got Adairsville. Can't leave a message. So I hung up, sit there and thought, did a couple things. I was working after all. Then I gave the call back, got the same message. You cannot leave this caller a voicemail. Does not have the ability or whatever. Doesn't have a voicemail set up, I think it said, or whatever. Everybody's heard that. So I said, well, forget it. If they're not going to take my name, they'll call me back. So right there, Robert, that's kind of where this kind of kicked off. Any thoughts from you at this point?
Number one, these guys, if you would think that enough people would know you and I not to call us with some nonsense like this. Because they've got a long road to hoe, so to speak, if they do. Number one. I love these kind of calls. I have a ball with them. And I'm honestly and sincerely jealous that this happened to you and not to me. Because you just keep going.
Okay. So a few minutes goes by and my phone rings and it's that number from Adairsville. So, by the way, when he left the voicemail, did you notice that he left the kindest thought at the end? Have a blessed day.
Yes,
I say that to people. I actually think that is another key to kind of get on your good side. Nothing against my law enforcement personnel, but I've never had a law enforcement personnel in a phone call about official business ever say, have a blessed day.
Yeah, no, that don't.
They need to tighten up their game here, Robert. And again, I'm not putting down law enforcement personnel, but they're all business usually. They can be very kind. Yes, they're just citizens like us, but in their official capacity, you don't normally get a tagline, have a blessed day.
And
He was
look,
talking very soft too, you know.
yeah, and that should tell you right there, he's flying a little tight in the flaps and loose in the rudders. I
Yeah.
mean, there's something wrong here. You know,
Well, and number 4, did you notice how low he was speaking? Almost like a well, I don't want to offend anybody, but almost like a funeral director or something, you know. I mean, you know, talking very soft. And who says in official capacity, call us back, you know, at your earliest convenience? They would say, we are trying to contact you. We must hear from you immediately or something, you know. I mean,
no,
I don't,
if it's official business, then it's serious.
it's serious.
It's serious. They're not going to be like, oh, would you please call us back at your earliest convenience? Have a
Yeah,
blessed day.
that's
They're going to
not,
be like, you need to call me so we can get this figured out.
yeah,
You know,
immediately.
immediately. As soon,
Yeah.
I mean, like yesterday.
And the other thing about the voicemail was the official documents, whatever. I had no clue what official documents. That sounds all ominous. Official documents. So anyway, I call, he answers, and I said, "Yeah, this is," or he calls me. I answer. I said, "This is David." That's a normal way for me. I like to say that because people sometimes, Robert, when you answer the phone and you just say hello, and somebody will go, "Is this David? Is this Robert?" I say it. I'll say, "Oh, this is David. Can I help you?" or something like that. Sometimes I'll just say, "This is David." You know, that way they know. So he says, "Well, hello, David." He started talking. He said, "What is David? Is this Cordell?" I mean, yeah. I mean, you called the guy that's named David Cordell, and I said David because I didn't say the last name, and he's going Cordell, and I said, "Why, yes, it is. This is David Cordell. How may I help you?"
Okay, wait a minute. Right there, you should have said, who did you call? Right there. Who did you call? Who do you think it is?
Not Ghostbusters. Maybe he was trying to call the Ghostbusters hotline. You know, he has some ghosts in the house or something. You know, want to get rid of the spooks. You know, the things flying around. Bill Murray moment. You know, they get hit by the blobby thing in the hotel or whatever. You know, so
Right.
so anyway, I said, "Well, yes, it is David Cordell. You know, I understand you need me." I forget how I said that. I said, "Yeah, how can I help you?" Or you left me a voicemail, I think I said, or something like that. And I was thinking the whole time, yeah, what a voicemail. And he said, so basically he said, yes, I have some official documents here. Now this is where it gets really squirrely. He says, apparently, well, he tells me that I have a warrant for my arrest, 2 of them. So I have documents, 2 warrants for your arrest. So I'm sitting here going, well, that's wild. I've not seen any police show up at the door, you know, boom, boom, boom. You're under arrest. So he says, you failed to appear in court back on, first he said a couple of weeks ago. Then he says, no. Let me give you that official date. That was, cause I said, listen, buddy, I've not had any, I received any notification. But the last thing he said there, when he said, I have 2 warrants for your arrest, I have these documents you warrant for your arrest. He said, we left you a summons at your house. And he said, do you live at, and I'm not going to give my address on here, not that you can't find it, but I don't care to do that. Do you live at this address? He called my address out. I said, why, yes, I do. I'm thinking if you're the police, you would know that. I mean, you know, yes, I do. He said, well, 2 summons were left at your door. Summons for what? He said, well, you were supposed to, let me back up. I think I got that backwards. He said it first. You didn't show up in court to be a character witness in a case. That's what he said. I said, character witness in a case? I said, first of all, I have not been asked to be a character witness in anybody's case. And if I was, I would have showed up. Then he goes, well, wait a minute. No, actually, it wasn't. He was stumbling a little bit. He said, well, it wasn't a character witness. He said, you received 2 summonses to show up. Here you go, Robert, for jury duty. I said, oh, I thought, man, I have got you now. Jury duty? I said, well, first of all, I said, by the way, what's your name? He said, this is, what did I say his name was, Robert? I told you, this is Sergeant Ken Strickland or something like that. I don't remember it exactly now. And I said, well, Sergeant, I said, first of all, I've received no summons in the mail to appear in court for anything. As if I had, I would have showed up. And I said, I'm a dedicated citizen, buddy. I said, actually, you're talking to a guy that loves to serve on jury duties. I'm that kind of crazy guy. And I haven't been able to serve on one since I was in my early 20s. I've been to two. I've been on 3 juries, but one was the same trip. I was on 2 different cases in the same week, and I went one other time. And I said, they have not ever called me back since. And if they had, I would have did my civic duty. I would have showed up with a smile on my face. I wish they would call me, and I would have been there. And he says, and I said, furthermore, if I had failed to show up for a jury duty summons on the first day of court, Monday, they would have put out a bench warrant for my arrest. Right, Robert?
Yes.
It's the way it works, right?
The way it works.
I've been in court, and the judge says they call the roll call on the first day of jury duty, and they call your name, and you're supposed to say, here. And if you don't, or you don't say it loud enough, they get on to you. If you don't say it loud enough, and if you don't say your name, they write that name down for the sheriff to dispatch deputies. And I've even heard them say, Sheriff, will you go and find out why Mr. or Mrs. So-and-so, whatever, is not in my courtroom this morning? That means you go pick them up.
Yes.
Bring them to my court. They don't play with that.
No.
And of course, I might digress here a little bit. On the first day of court, you've got more jurors than you need. They whittle that down through the week. Some are released the first day or the second day. All of them, most of them never serve all week. You get released. The cases get, some cases are never heard because they plea out during the week, and all of a sudden they don't need that many or any of you. And so the first day is very crowded. It's in Catoosa County. This first day is packed. They split the jurors in the potential jurors in 2 groups. The biggest group stays in the main courtroom, or they did years ago, and the others go to another courtroom, and they break it down from there. And they go find out where these people are. But you have all these people who come, and there are a certain number every time I've went, which is twice, and they're always trying to get out of jury duty. And they'll stand up and they will say, I can't serve. I have a business. I have this. I have that. They'll make all these excuses. And in 99.9% of them, the judge says, sit down. You're here. You're going to stay here. If there's a possibility that you could leave earlier in the week, we'll see. But you're here and you're going to stay here. Sit down. I don't want to hear no more. And they shut them down. They don't play on this, Robert. It is our civic duty. But there are people who don't want to do their civic duty. They're mad that they got called. And I've seen it every time. I sit there waiting to just see what they want me to do. And some of you listening may have never served on the jury, but I haven't in years, but I have been in courtroom because I've went with people who were having to, go before a judge, or I have been in court to be a character witness for someone. I've done that. All kinds of cases, and I've supported family members and friends who were in trouble with the law. And I went there for moral support, not to say to do anything, just to be there and say, hey, I'm your friend. And I'm taking off of work. I want to support you today and hope that the best, and pray with them, So this is where it gets way downhill, Robert. You're going to love this. You're going to love this because this, what'd you call him? I liked what you called him.
A low down scum bucket.
Low down scum bucket. I hope he's listening, Mr. Sergeant. Low down, by the way, he's not a sergeant. Low down scum bucket. He's the sergeant in the scum bucket department, wherever that's at. Maybe, I guess it is in Daresville. Nothing against the Daresville. So he says, I'm going to have some letters come in from
it's in Rotor-Rooter.
I love it. Yeah. So I said that about they would have come and picked me up. He said, no, that you don't understand. You said you had been in a long time. That's not the way they do that now. He said, they don't want to. I said, yes, they do, sir. They do that. You're a sergeant. You already know that. They come pick you up. He said, what I meant to say is, he says, we don't do Here, this word, Rob, this word. We don't do we don't want to arrest you. That's what he said. We don't want to arrest you. We just want to get all this settled. We want to get this paperwork settled because we don't want to arrest the elderly. Elderly? I said, who are you calling elderly? He said, well, I would call 59 years old elderly. He knows my age. I just told everybody I'm 59 years old. He said, I would call 59 elderly. I said, well, I wouldn't, bud. I don't know what you call elderly, but it's not 59.
You are pretty old, Dave.
I have lost some hair. There are some gray, but I don't think I'm elderly, although the little teenagers today would probably say he's elderly. I don't know how old the sergeant was supposed to be of the lowdown scumbucket patrol, but I promise you he wasn't 19. So he better watch his language. Elderly.
Yeah, well, I guess with elderly, it just depends on which way you take it.
Hey, watch how you say that, man. No, let's not use that.
I mean, just depends. I mean, no. You're killing me.
So now I have official papers to take care of. Two warrants for my arrest. I missed the jury duty or the case to be a character witness, whichever you prefer.
And your defense are full.
They don't want to transport anything that might be offensive. Oh my goodness, dude! I hope you're listening, because if this is the best you can do to scam somebody, dude, you're out of your league.
Call me next.
Yeah, call Robert Blevins in South Georgia. He lives in either, what is that, Miller County, or it's a Sergeant Strickland with the Miller County Deputy Sheriff's Office.
Okay.
Oh man,
you got to finish your story before I die.
So the guy starts stuttering real bad, you know, because I started hammering him, and I'm like, are you kidding me, man? I can't believe you just called me old, man. I mean, what kind of how's that professional? I mean, you're calling me old, man, elderly, as you don't. You know, but he knows my name, he knows my address, he knows my phone number, obviously, and he knows I'm old. You know, I'm elderly. So he says, listen, we just need to get this paperwork took care of. It's just a couple of misdemeanors. And I said, well, first of all, that's when I asked him I asked him again, what's your name? Well, I'm a sergeant, and he gave me a name in the Catoosa County Sheriff's Department. I said, and I just started hammering him about it, very odd. You know, oh, by the way, he said the date went all the way back to May 27th. Okay, what is this? July 11th. July 11th, man. I said, what kind of a police force lets a bench warrant sit around from May 27th to July 11th? What kind of a clown show y'all got going on? So the dude, he's like, I said, we just need to get took care of, Mr. Cordell. I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn you over to my supervisor. I said, no. I'm not going to talk to your supervisor. He said, well, I promise you, he'll vouch for me as the sergeant with the Tues County Sheriff's Office. I said, I don't need your supervisor to tell me your role, your title, or whatever. I said, I'll tell you what I'm going to do, Mr. Sergeant. I'm going to hang up with you, and I'm going to call the Catoosa County Sheriff's Office myself, and I'm going to verify your employment there, and I will work with them to rectify any paperwork, warrants, missed court dates, or anything else. You got that, Sergeant? What do you think's the next thing I heard was? Click. That was it.
Dude, dude. Dude, you never tell them you're going to call the sheriff's department. That ends it.
I know.
Dude, you could have strung this out for another 5 or 10 minutes and made this guy really feel like a moron before you hung up.
I wish. The only thing I wish I was getting mad. Hey man, you call me old man. That just ticked me off. The old man Cordell came out, and I said, I was thinking what my dad would have said, but but I was thinking I should have talked to the supervisor and then ask him what kind of a clown sergeant that he has working for him that is so unprofessional, and to call a citizen elderly.
Yes.
Old.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Called you old. What are they going to do? They don't let old people out of the nursing home to go up there and serve on jury duty, do they? I mean, well, I guess your home could be considered a nursing home in a way. I mean, old folks' home. You're there,
I was thinking as we were talking, I was thinking, well, the supervisor's going to put the squeeze on for the money. That's where it was all going. Well, if you'll send us this amount of money, we'll clear this up. We'll just drop all this. We'll just dismiss everything. Of course, that would be for $500 or $1,000 or whatever it was they thought they could squeeze out of you. So, public service announcement. Oh, by the way, rest of the story. There is a little second part. I did call the Catoosa County Sheriff's Office, talked to a fine officer there who yes, confirmed it was a scam, that they don't have that sergeant by that name working there, and that these people buy a lot of numbers. But right off the bat said we can't do anything about it. They buy these numbers, and she said about every 3 months there's 30 or 40 of these type of calls into the area. So they're just picking different areas, not just Catoosa, but different areas. And so I guess they picked out the old man. I somehow got run up the list, man. See what happens when you turn 59? You get pushed up the list. I'm not even 60 yet, man. At least let me get to the senior discounts and everything. Or is that 65? I mean, 55. By the way, I went by, I'm starting to get a little phobia about this. I went to the Hardee's the other day to get a couple of cups of coffee for me and my wife. And the lady says, I actually ordered 2 large cups of coffee. And she says, okay, sir, that'll be $1.63 with your senior discount. and they didn't even give me the large coffee. They gave me the little senior cup. What do you get? Two sips out of it and it's gone,
I think you get free refills. Free refills on that.
But I was in the drive-thru, man.
You have to go back around. You just keep going around till you get enough coffee, dude. I mean, you don't have to worry about if you have to stop to pee or anything. I mean, it just depends on the situation.
I don't use that word, man. Oh, man, what a day.
Dude, I could see it now. You're going to be walking around, Boy Scouts are going to be helping you cross the street. Girls helping you walk into the grocery store, carrying your groceries out. Well, you're going to have a trail of Boy Scouts following you wherever you go getting their badges.
I just got one question.
Yeah.
Does this qualify me to be the president of the United States right now?
No, you didn't fall for it. If you'd have fallen for it. Yep.
Okay. Just wanted to clarify. So, serious note, folks.
Yeah.
Tell the sergeant when he calls you that you want to talk to the supervisor and continue this silliness, but don't give him no money. I mean, come on.
No. All right. Now, y'all, we are joking and laughing and cutting up about this. And we're having fun with it, because we're not sending nobody no money because we're poor.
That's right.
But the reason why people make these kind of calls is they work. It may be a low percentage, but they work. Y'all, it don't hurt to call and verify anything. Don't fall for someone calling telling you out of the blue that you owe money or you have this or you have that. If they do that, verify. It's
by the way, one last thing I didn't say.
And
all seriousness, and I'm not defending the offenses of anybody. But these people prey on your fear.
Yes.
And if you were recently released from prison or out on probation, that really sometimes scares people. They fall for it. But one of the people, she said they hear about a lot that they call is the sex offenders, because they look up the sex offender registry in the state of Georgia, which you can go to the state website and look that up. And you can look at your neighborhood. I would recommend doing that and see who is a registered sex offender where you live. And sadly, if you've done that, you know there's many. Not defending those actions at all, but I can see how that would. Nobody wants to go back to jail,
No.
and they could come up with some kind of story, and that's where it starts, and family sometimes in fear for, well, the reverse of this is the families have been scammed by the prisoners in the prisons saying, we're going to hurt your boy unless you put this amount of money on our cash app or whatever. This is a real deal. It happens every day. And a lot of people lose all their life savings through this. And I don't call them names and say, well, they're stupid or they're this or whatever. You know what? There's probably not a one of us that hasn't fallen for something sometime because they caught us just at the right moment. That's why it's important to slow down, think clearly, use your brain, start asking questions, and usually the story will fall apart really quick. And if you don't feel comfortable doing that, get somebody on the phone who is, and just start hammering these people. It's a shame. I wish they were locked up for doing things like this. And my thought was, yeah, it didn't work with me, but the next call might have worked, and that's sad. It might be some senior saint who's been faithful their whole life to God and country and family, and they may have a little dementia or something going on, and that's scary. But if and by the way, I will say this too. The last thing that they failed at was the demographics of the area. It was obvious they were of a particular demographic group, and I happen to know that on that police force, it's not there. So they just pick different areas out, and they really don't know those areas. They don't know the makeup of those police departments. Why do I know them? Well, we go to the school. We meet the resource officers. I've been in community meetings, and you meet the sheriff, and you meet the deputies and the detectives and sergeants. And I've helped people to get information for crimes, when things have happened, told them what I knew, that, well, I saw this or I saw that. So I've talked to these people. And that's just different wherever you go. It's going to be different in Atlanta than it is in South Georgia or maybe in Albany. It'd be different in Albany from where you live, Robert. You just know what the makeup of that police force is, and they didn't know that. So I only had a pause because of cases that I've been in, which have been, over for over a decade, just involving custody. And so, but when they started talking about jury duties and character witness and all that, I was just laughing. I really was. I really was just having fun with it until he called me old. Then it got serious, man. It got real. It got real, as the kids say.
I'm surprised you
for
heard it.
real.
I'm surprised you heard him. Did you have your hearing aid turn up?
I heard him pretty good. I heard that real good. I didn't even have to ask him to repeat it.
If it had shocked you too much, you'd have fell over and been like, "Oh, I can't get up."
That would have been. You know what? From that point forward, I should have acted like I couldn't hear. What'd you say? Huh?
Huh? What?
This elderly man can't hear you.
I've got one story I've got to tell. It goes along with this. Now, and nobody should fall for stuff, but my grandmother was 99 years old when she passed. And this 99-year-old lady used to get calls every day trying to sell her a brace, some type of brace, any type of brace.
Oh, yeah.
And my Aunt Rita my aunt actually answered the phone and was like, put on her old lady voice. They said, "Ma'am, do you need a brace?" And, "Oh, I don't need a brace." Well, we got braces for everything. Do you have anything that hurts? Yeah. You got problems? Yeah, I've got some problems, but I don't think you have a brace that can help me. She said, "Oh yeah, we got braces that'll help anything at all." No, you can't. You can't. Well, what's your problem? I have hemorrhoids. And click. And the worst thing about it is my grandmother, God love her, she couldn't hear very well, but she heard every bit of that, and she looked my aunt in the face and said, "Now they think I have hemorrhoids." I
Classic.
called her. I waited a couple of days, and I called her. I said, "Ma'am, were you the one needing the hemorrhoid brace?" "Robert, I'm going to kill you."
Oh my goodness.
So look, next time, don't feel bad about being elderly. Okay,
Okay.
this is a very special time of your life. You are officially an old coot now.
And
All
they
right,
call that
you've
the
crossed
golden
that
years, right?
threshold. You've crossed that threshold. You're an old coot. That means you can get away with all kinds of stuff. Just walk around with a blank look on your face. You know,
I can dribble off the
yeah,
skin.
yeah. You're officially at the age now where you can sit on your children's front porch in your boxer shorts, dipping stuff, and shooting the neighborhood kids with a BB gun.
Then they would be coming and picking me up.
They're coming, Dad. Quit it.
By the way, it's awful funny too. A sergeant. Why would a sergeant be calling and handling a case like that anyway? Really, a sergeant?
Yeah.
You're not the low street patrol officer anymore. Not against them, but you got to pay your dues. You got to climb up through the department. A sergeant? Really? Come on.
Yeah.
If I was a sergeant in the Catoosa County Police Department, sheriff's office, I would be upset that they made a sergeant have that kind of duty. So to the low life scum buckets,
Yeah.
get you another boy, because it ain't me.
Yeah. And thank you for entertaining us.
Oh yeah, great material.
Yeah. I mean, you calling Dave elderly, that was classic. And it's not going to be forgotten anytime soon.
Oh, I know. But for the sake of the story, I put myself out there,
I appreciate it very much.
I expect my senior discount wherever I go now at 59. I'm going to say I've been called elderly by an person of official capacity.
You're killing me. I love you, brother. So everybody out there, we are laughing and having a ball with this, but don't fall for this. It's if Dave got hit, then you might get hit tomorrow. Don't fall for it.
That's right. Don't fall for it. All seriousness.
But
yeah.
if you get the chance to have some fun with them and you're up for that and you can record it, send it to us. We'll play it for you.
Oh man. I was so glad when I first talked to you about it, I forgot I had the voicemail. I said, we've got to have that voicemail. Let's make him famous. Let's play it one more time. Voicemail. Here you go. Sergeant. Sergeant.
Here too. The sergeant.
Then we're going to get off here and end this program. But one more time for you, Sergeant.
Let's listen up.
This is the Catoosa County Sheriff's Office looking to make contact with a David Cordia. We have some legal documents we need to discuss with you, Mr. Cordia. Could you please give us a call at your earliest convenience? Thanks. Have a blessed day.
You know what, Sergeant? I did have a blessed day. That's the only thing you got right, bub.
This is the Catoosa County Sheriff's Office looking to make contact with a David.
Let's listen to it one more time.
We have some legal documents we need to discuss with you, Mr. Cordia. Could you please give us a call at your earliest convenience? Thanks. Have a blessed day.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
Oh, hey, only at the Southern Fried Podcast.
Salute. Good night, y'all.
Good night.
Well, once again, it's time, my friends, for another meet and greet. We're Southern Fried and nationwide, so hang on to your seat. Look around, here's what I found. I guess you'll never know what you'll see on the Southern Fried Podcast Show. Yeehaw. Well, once again, it's time